Just gonna set up my little office here. I'm gonna need these glasses later. My vision is declining rapidly. Anybody else feel like they've been aging in dog years? Everything to me looks like, you know those public park restroom mirrors that are just a buffed sheet of metal? I'm getting ready like, I'm seeing a general outline here. That'll do. I have a whole new appreciation for my teachers in their 60s growing up who always had like mascara right here in a buzz cut situation. I'm like, I get it, work smarter, not harder. And now is also the perfect time to announce, I plan to age. Thank you. Naturally, ideally from the comfort of my own home. Somebody's got to do it. We need a control group in Los Angeles. Otherwise, we won't know what old ladies look like. So I volunteer. If I do get surgery, it's gonna be a lobotomy. My friend Monica wants one too, and I just told her, fuck it, let's get our heads done. Let's get our heads done. I ran that joke by my mom first, and her response was, wouldn't that be nice? Curveball Diane. The pandemic was rough on us all. I used to be able to shock her. Not anymore. I'm very grateful for my mom. She raised me and my two older sisters, who I'm very close with. I met them through my mom in the late 80s. And we've remained close. My mom's cool. She absolutely loves the Olympics. She's obsessed. Huge O-head, her words. She's also a pretty big fan of me. You know, she won't stop texting. And she likes to hype me up, you know, before shows. And one time before a show, she said to me, Bethy, you are so good at stand-up comedy. If it were an Olympic event, you would win gold in women's stand-up comedy. She did raise us right here in Dayton, Ohio. I knew you guys would be happy for me. Not everybody shows us the respect we deserve. You know, we're the birthplace of aviation. Yeah. North Carolina has been coming for us for years. Their license plates say first in flight. It's like, okay. It was built in Dayton, we just used you for your wind. The flights were short and they meant nothing to them. Shitty hawk. My passions have changed since you saw me last. I'm very into aviation now. No, we all spent the last couple years differently. Me personally, I searched the Wright brothers on the internet a couple times. Just to learn about my heritage, the city I come from. It's funny how our whole motto is based upon two men who literally wanted to fly away. And they couldn't. Nonetheless, back in 1892, Wilbur and Orville, they had a bike shop. They rolled before they flew. I thought they did popcorn for a bit, but that is Redenbacher. Now, you can still go visit the original bike shop. Now, the first one has been torn down, as I'm sure everybody here knows. I believe there's a credit union or something. But you can still visit the fourth one over on Williams. You can poke your head in there, see all the photos of Wilbur and Orville working in the bikes. And there's another dude in there helping them. There's no ladies working at the bike shop. If they let us in there, we would have gotten to Peloton much faster. And the seats would have been more comfortable too. No, I realize it's silly to get your tail in a knot over firsts. Like who was first to do something, because I guess you gotta ask, were you first or were you the only one allowed to do it? I think it was that one. I'm scratchy. This is sleepy time tea. I'm just like... My mom is a pianist, which was funny for a while. She taught elementary school music for 34 years. And I grew up going to visit her classroom, even into college. And one time I was visiting her class. She had a second grade group in there. And she was teaching them that song, 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, shut the, classic. She has all the kids in a circle. Circles are huge in the music industry. And she's having them finish, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She gets to 9, 10, and she points to this little second grade boy. She says, 9, 10, and he goes, big fat asshole. I literally had to steady myself on the door frame. I was laughing so hard. My mom was like, Jonathan, you go sit by the door. I was like, not over here, he's killing. 9, 10, big fat asshole? It doesn't even rhyme. This kid's a genius. What was he just saving it up all day for Diane's class? And knowing that the worst that would happen to him was like, Jonathan, you go sit by the door. You're too young to be alone in the hallway, but you're out of the circle. I don't even know how old second grade is. Nobody told me. I'm just like, where did he get that? Was it a dare? I like to think he probably heard it at home or some version of it. But I have a wild imagination, so I like to think it was probably his mom. Saying it to his dad. You've been gone from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., you big fat asshole. I could use a little help. Especially from 5 to 6 when you're probably out sucking dicks. Try to come home again at 3 or 4, I'm gonna shut the door in your big fat asshole face. Oh, Jonathan, I'm sorry you had to see that. That is his real name. I've left it his real name in case he needs to find me. I want to know the truth. He should be making his way onto the stand-up scene any day now, and I'll ask him myself. She also did the high school chorus, and that was after school, so I would go over there so I wouldn't have to have a babysitter. And she would have the chorus up on the risers, and I would be in the aisles doing cartwheels and back walkovers and splits and stuff, trying to get the high school boys' attention. I had crushes on all of them. They were up here singing their hearts out. It was hot. And I don't know, I was probably in like 3rd or 4th grade. You're a gymnast when you're young because you're unaware of the many ways that your neck can break. And there's a lot of benefits to being a gymnast. You're strong, you're flexible, the leotards and stuff. My mom used to describe my legs as tree trunks, which I tried to explain was damaging, but now I love it. Yeah, you could parkour off these babies. I'm probably gonna end up doing a open leg casket. So, chorus is up here, I'm in the aisles. I have a huge crush on this baritone named Tim. And my mom makes the mistake of letting Tim babysit for me. Very dangerous. For him, my love language is sexual harassment. Most of the time he spent babysitting me was just like stiff-arming the top of my head. Like, while I was like, trying to touch his junk. We were an all-female household. I had curiosities. But Tim was very good to me. He took me to the gas station to get candy. He got me a stuffed elephant one year for my birthday. Point is, good guy. And then more, that could have been his laugh. Recently, I actually ran into Tim at the grocery store at Dorothy Lane Market. Some fans of the Killer Brownie. So Tim and I were catching up, and he's like, B, oh my gosh, it's been ages. And we were talking and chatting, and he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for everything that you're up to. And then Tim asked me out on a date. Thank you. And I just looked at him and I said, if you didn't want me then. Bit of a pedophile joke. I think it was fun. You have to be careful with pedophilia because you can catch it just by touching a kid. So we had guinea pigs growing up, and we kept them in our garage, and in the hot Ohio summers, they absolutely died in there. And my sister reminded me, we named one of the pigs Brownie, which in retrospect is extra sad. She was out there straight bacon at 375. And my mom felt awful, okay? So she let us give him a proper burial in the backyard. And me and my sisters took those hard-bodied pigs, not like ripped, but like rigor mortis hard, and we buried him in the easiest place to dig. We put him right in the sandbox. And then a couple of neighborhood dogs came along, snarfed him right up. It was a tragedy all around. And I really feel like it could have been avoided if we just had a dad. I don't know what dads do, but I assume it's regulate the garage temp. They're always in there, tinkering around, planning their escape. No, my dad didn't escape as much as he was asked to leave. Escorted off the premises. Some of you know this about my dad. When I was little, he moved down to Orlando, Florida to become an actor, which is not where you go. He did land a few gigs. He was an extra in the television series of Swamp Thing. He was a truck driver in that, and that's it. And they took things into his own hands, started his own business, and now he's in the sign spinning biz. He calls it live roadside commercials or character directionals. He likes to devise a character and then present it to the cars. He's a leprechaun in front of this Irish pub called the Kerryman, for example, and the rest of his characters are available on his website. So we grew up, around a lot of costumes, like thrifting and going to Ray's Circus of Value and stuff. For example, like he loves a morph suit. You know what those are? It's like what Olympic speed skaters wear, but there's like no hole cut for your face. So you're just like in a single Lycra suit, just one color, head to toe, no skin showing. He wears an orange one in front of the Orange Julius. I don't know how the silhouette of my dad's penis sells smoothies, but that was a bit of a tongue twister and I really got through it. Silhouette of my dad's penis sells smoothies. He heard me say that and he was like, I wear shorts over it. I'm family friendly. Okay. It doesn't rain that often in Orlando, and he called me one time after a shift. He said there was a sudden downpour and I almost waterboarded myself. I was like, I couldn't breathe, it was stuck to my face, my fingers are covered, the zipper's on the back of my head, I nearly died. I was like, I had to get into the car, I was so embarrassed. I was like, it's only embarrassing when it's wet? Or Anyway, he made it out. So my sisters and I, we would have to leave our mom here in Dayton and go visit our dad as kids in Orlando because it was court ordered. And we didn't have a ton to do down there because we didn't go to school, so we couldn't make friends or anything like that. And all the neighbors were old or from Florida. So we did a lot of playing in the costumes, and there were a ton of them. The garage was wall to wall filled with costumes. Sometimes we would find strangers in there because they thought it was a garage sale. So one night, it was actually just me and my oldest sister, Megan. We're playing in the costumes, doing a photo shoot. I put on this muscle tee. You know what I mean? It's like a muscle tee, but then there's huge latex muscles that you put your arms through. And then a brown curly wig. And it just wasn't working for me. I was like, what's my motivation? So then Megan put on this gray pinstripe suit, a Dick Tracy hat, and some wingtip shoes. And it was really working for her. She was feeling herself. And so I decided to go something fresh, unopened. I went and put on this full red lace bodysuit. And then we whipped up the tunes. We were dancing around. Megan's 6 years older than me. We're dancing. I do a high kick, and Megan goes, "Oh my God, Beth, there's a hole in the crotch of that." I was like, "Cool. So you can pee?" She was like, "Yeah, take it off right now." So I was just a sixth grader in a sex suit. Then, this is when my dad comes in. I believe we were told to be quiet. And he pokes his head and he's like, "Girls, get out here. You're gonna wanna see this." And we were like, "Do we? Wanna see what's in your backyard at midnight in Orlando, Florida?" What we didn't expect to see were just 18 raccoons eating out of a huge trough of dog food that he provided them. He goes, "I threw in some Hershey Kisses." Even raccoons deserve dessert. I was like, that I agree with, honestly. Everybody deserves dessert. Otherwise, this is disgusting. He said, "Don't worry, B, every night after they're done eating, I bleach the deck." What? You're telling me you've created for yourself a 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. unpaid raccoon internship? Take back your life, man. As you can imagine, over the years, the numbers skyrocketed exponentially. He was helping rodents flourish in the back. He told me recently they're actually mammals from the weasel family. Well, I thought the highest the number got was 73, but he FaceTimed me a couple weeks ago. I didn't pick up, and if I don't pick up, he'll text right away. He's like, Beth, this is your dad. So our whole text thread is just like, Beth, this is your dad. Beth, this is your dad. Beth, this is your dad. Which seems weird, but like, he's right. I never save his number. So it's good. But he told me that the highest it actually got was 91 raccoons. But back when it was still in the 40s, my sister decided to calculate how much he was spending on dog food per year because she was hoping to go to college. And apparently he was spending $4,000 a year on dog food. Didn't calculate the Hershey Kisses. Apparently those are marginal. He goes, I know it's a problem. But on the off nights that I don't feed them, they take their long, skinny fingers, they pick up rocks from the rock garden, and they roll them up and down against my bedroom window until I come out and feed them. What? Call an exterminator immediately. But I just didn't think about what that phone call would be like for him. Just like, yeah, we got a little bit of a raccoon problem on our hands. How many? Exactly 91. Do you need their names or no? Okay. How did it happen? Whew, my goodness. I gotta tell you, direct result of my actions. So it's like far too expensive to exterminate. So, and plus that would be a literal genocide. 91 raccoon carcasses, that's like up to here. So he decides to go with trapping and releasing into the wild. He bought 2 traps, but they were expensive. So he made one of his own, which I imagine was just like a piece of fruit in his mouth and his open arms. Like, he was taking them one by one. He was releasing them into the wild, and he was very proud because it took so long, so he liked to update me. He's like, so far I've got 39 raccoons, 2 possums, and a black cat. There's still a bunch of them out there. Biggins. So he was taking him in his car. He drives a Geo, which is essentially a roller skate. And he was putting a blanket over the cage. I was like, so they can't find their way back? Or he's like, I didn't want him to get rattled. He's like, but still, they poke their fingers through the blanket and they sound like Halloween. I don't know if I've painted a good picture of my father thus far, but this is the same man who visited me in Chicago once when I was living there, and he described riding the L train like Jurassic Park. So I have no clue what he's talking about when he says they sound like Halloween. Whether it's like, wee, 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 like one of those ghosts you walk by at CVS, it's like, he's like, did I tell you that one of them got out in the car? I was like, no, but it sounds like you do. Want to tell me? He's like, thankfully I was just outside the driveway, so I opened the back hatch, it hissed at me, and I drove off. I was like, been there. He was taking that, when he said releasing them into the wild, I thought he was just like taking them to his neighbor's trash cans, like one for you, one for you, one for you. But on that FaceTime, I did call him back, and he told me some news developed. He said, under the cover of night, I've been taking them over to the Carryman because there's a freshwater source. Now, if you recall, the Carryman is where my dad is a leprechaun in front of, so he just increased his job description to like, get in here for the lunch deals and don't look at all these raccoons I dropped off. So he goes, I finally got down to the lead raccoon. And I walked him over there. I put his cage down in the grass, and I just was standing there in my swim trunks. I was like, are you baptizing them before they left? He's like, and Snorky walked right out of his cage. They don't always do. And he walked over to me, and with his bare hand, I'm like, what else would it be? Are you putting them in little outfits? Like, I'm gonna need the gloves back, my guy. And the top hat as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. Keep the cane, you're gonna need it. He goes, Snorky walked over to me, and with his bare hand, he went like this on my crock. As if to say thank you. I was like, yeah, or as if to be like, here's rabies, bitch. Thanks for ruining me and my closest 90 relatives' lives. You know what doesn't grow out here? Dog food and Hershey kisses. We're effed. Take me back. Only difference between me and the raccoons is I've never been on a Christmas card. I'm fine with it. I'm at peace. I always like spending Christmas here better. It always feels weird to have a warm Christmas. I also feel like because I grew up here in Dayton, I got most of my alcohol drinking out of the way in 8th grade. And then by the time high school rolled around, I was pretty grizzled, you know? I gotta get my shit together. Who else is gonna lead this field hockey team to state for the first time in 15 years? For those of you that don't know, field hockey is a sport, and you play it with a stick and in a ball. People used to call us chicks with sticks. And then inevitably chicks with dicks. It's like, who would want to get penetrated by a long wooden stick when I have a perfectly good mouth and finger? No, I'm just kidding. No, I've never, or I should say I haven't yet gone down on a woman. I have had a man go down on me so badly, I've thought, like, let me down there. Just to see. It can't be that hard. Especially if you love her. Okay. Back to my 8th grade drinking problem. We'd sleep over at Mary's house, and we would sneak out around midnight, cross Irving into the University of Dayton. Well, you might want to wait. We would wander into a frat house, get hammered, and then some of my girlfriends would hook up with the frat dudes. See? A little rugged to think about college dudes hooking up with 8th grade girls. I feel like the only time men believe women is when we're lying about being 18. Frat dudes are like, what am I supposed to do? Check her ID? I'm like, check her face. Is it underdeveloped and over-contoured? Does it look like she still believes in Santa? Are her teeth still white? Behind the braces. Naturally, that night in 8th grade, me and my girlfriends were arrested for being too young and high. That was a body roll for anybody who forgot 8th grade. I used to practice the body roll in the mirror before dances. I'd be like, oh, yes. Sometimes I'd really kick an arm out to really good at going. Get out there and make some boys cream their khakis. Okay, honestly, I had no clue what I was doing, for the record. I had no clue I was making you guys tuck your boners up in your waistbands. Just one lift of the shirt, I could have looked it directly in the eye, like, ah! Late apology from me. I'm sorry. I'll type it up in the notes app, post it later. But it was campus police who got us. So there was a cop car ride, but no cuffs. And then they took us back to the station very late at night and put us into a badly lit conference room where they made us wait it out. And we were scared. And then finally a cop came in and he picked up the phone book and he slammed it down on the table and he said, "Call your parents." I was like, I know the number. Call your parents? I only have a mom. Why do you think I'm down here? She did pick me up. Not very pleased with it, but she said, you know, something bad could have happened to you. They could have taken advantage of you. I'm just glad you're okay. I was like, I've got no tits. She said, but you have an excellent personality. Now get in the van. What if my mom was like, now get in the van, we're driving you right back to Sigma Chi and we're gonna get you one of those frat dudes. I did drive home though, actually, after the pandemonium dust settled. I drove from California to Ohio. I just wanted to like feel in charge instead of flying, you know? And my mom was very worried about me driving alone cross country. I mean, I was worried about me. I tinted my windows, I bought a knife, but there's other things to worry about besides being the hottest person at a rest stop. For example, if you are traveling alone, hot tip, if someone suspect starts swiftly walking towards you, you can just say, I've actually already been raped. Thank you so much. No, I'm good. Thank you. And men hate to be second, so they're like, thank you for letting me know. And then they're out of there. I also went camping one of the nights alone. I went camping in Zion National Park. It was the summer, everybody was disappearing, and I was like, let's give it a whirl. I'm not even a huge camper. I feel like it's a good thing to do, to try, at least once alone. Especially if you go into it with the perspective of like, this is what it's like to be a woman in the world, especially at night, because you can't lock a tent flap. Maybe you know what I mean. If I would, I could. So I'm in my tent. Night has fallen. I have barricaded the flap as best I can. And I heard like the snap of a branch, and I grew scared. And that is when I decided to be two people. And I did the voices of two people within my tent. And what we discovered there is when I have every opportunity in the world in front of me, my husband is so mean to me. I was like, good night, honey. And he said, you go to bed. But first, you suck my dick. Okay, at least I'm not alone right now. Just made the campers around me fall asleep to the sounds of me choking. Just to keep it realistic. I did open with one bark up top, directly into the tip. I always do, just to show who's boss. Other than that, I'm not much of a risk taker. I don't gamble. I would never bungee jump or get married. If I had to choose any of those risks, I'm probably gonna bungee. I'm gonna bungee it. I gotta figure like a grouping of synthetic fibers has to be stronger than two people making a promise. Plus, it's, easier to bounce back from. Of all the messaging I've received as a gal in this world, I do feel most at peace with my decision not to wed. Sometimes it's hard to separate messaging from what you really want. And then other times your body will kick in, Like, I might still want kids, I just know I won't have time to come home and let them out. It's something you gotta consider before you get into the kid biz. Me and my boyfriend were actually trying, but I'm on birth control. It makes it difficult to conceive. Over the years, I have experimented recreationally with all different forms of birth control. And the first one I got into was the IUD. I had that for like 8 years, and I got so much done. And I remember when I got the second one inserted, the nurse asked me, she said, "Your uterus is tilted backwards. Did you know that?" And I remember thinking, don't know how I could. But what you're telling me is even my uterus is like, We're good. And then more recently, I had to get an ultrasound, and I found out I actually have a bicornate uterus, which means my uterus is like heart-shaped, which is pretty on brand for me. But what it meant was the IUD, this is my impression of an IUD. It was in there, bopping them on the head or whatever it's doing. And some of them could have, swam around and then gotten in trouble up in these parts. So point being, that was not the right form of birth control for my body. So in my 30s, I started taking the pill just because I wanted to know what it would be like to be a different person. And we found out. They started me on Yaz. Has anybody here tried or tasted Yaz? Yeah, you have? Are you still on it, or? No, you got Yazzed. I would describe it as psychological warfare. They really don't want us to be in charge. Like, if you're not gonna have kids to keep you at home, this will, you crazy bitch. Does anybody want to, no pressure, does anybody want to share why they stopped taking Yaz, or? I just like to open the floor in case anybody needs to get something off their chest. Or, if you're with somebody you took it for, you want them to know what you went through. Depression, rock on. Add it to the fun list. Anybody, again, no pressure. This is for you. I've done all my research. I'll go. I feel like being on that birth control. Oh, and she's a little late, that one. We're glad you're both here. No, but I do feel like being on that birth control is the closest my boyfriend will get to a threesome. Just like me and me! I still keep 3 extra months of it in my purse. Just in case I need to lift a car. Or I meet another person that wants to start a fire. I will say we did have some fun with that birth control, because we would do some birth control bits, my boyfriend and I, like stuff. Because I would take it before bed. And so I'd be standing across the bed from him in our matching morph suits with the hole cut out. And I would say to him, "Thank you for reminding me to take the pill." He didn't, but I like to put that on him. And then I would take the pill and he'd make me lift up my tongue to make sure I swallowed it. Like, And then we would do tasting notes with the birth control, because he considers himself a bit of a sommelier. So he'd say, "What are some of the flavor profile you're getting from that? What are some of that?" And I'd say, "I'm getting like salty tears and jealousy." And then he'd feel bad and give me a kiss. And I'd be like, "It's so powerful. Any residual flavor profile for you?" And he was like, "Total peace and freedom." Night, night. So after that, they did switch me to a different doctor. I switched to Laraneffy, which is generic for low estrogen. Not sponsored. I don't know why I got so specific. I wish. Can you imagine if I was sponsored by Laraneffy? I just reached out on Instagram. They're like, "Hey, what's up? We saw you made the switch. Curious if you could do a quick promo vid for us." I'd say, "Sure." And they'd say, "Action." I'd just be like, It's like a little bit better. I don't know. Should I read the side effects? Or they're like, "Please don't do that." I'd be like, "That's weird," because I actually always have the side effects printed out with me at all times. The side effects of Laraneffy are nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramps, bloating, spotting, changes in menstrual flow, nipple discharge. Not yet, but fingers crossed. Breast tenderness, breast enlargement, changes in weight, rash, depression, sleep problems, weakness, tired feeling, mood changes, yeast infection. I guess we're starting to see why nobody wanted to yell anything out. Somebody's here on a first date and they're like, "Yeast infection! Today, tomorrow, and every day, baby!" Their date is like, "That's why you're shifting around in your chair." I actually do have a yeast infection joke that I could never really find a home for, but this does feel like a good spot for it. And I did hear a chant from the back that was like, "Tell it, tell it, tell it." Thank you. So the yeast infection joke goes like this. "I won't know that you're cheating on me, but my hoot will, because it turns into like an old Southern chef that's like, 'I knew you were having gas, so I baked something.'" Swelling. Freckles or dark patches of skin on the face. The or is troubling. One of those is way worse. Can you imagine starting at the same time as your friend? You guys get together for lunch. You're like, what'd you get? Freckles or dark patches? Oh man, I got dark patches. The last one's migraine. Lara Neffy is like, the birth control company is like, could you put a spin on that or something? I'd be like, all I heard was breast enlargement. I didn't have boobs for the longest time, aforementioned. I was a gymnast, so I had pecs for ages. I was ripped as a child. And when you don't have boobs as a kid, you really want them because we're taught that they're our worth. And I do remember like wearing a padded swimsuit at the pool. Trouble with that is when you get out of the pool, there's like just 2 waterfalls dripping underneath. The good thing was I was strong enough that I was able to like pull myself out of the pool and at the same time squeegee my tits out. And then head to the snack bar, get a frozen Snickers, whatever you want to break a tooth on. But by the time junior high came, I couldn't just show up empty-chested. How was I gonna get a dude back to my mom's unfurnished basement? So I had to act fast. I went up to my mom's room. I stole her water bra, which Victoria's Secret stole from a hose in water balloons. And then just charged us $50, and we were like, honestly, we'll do anything. So I strapped on the water bra, I marched to junior high, and it worked. I snagged a teen. I was also a teen at the time, just to be clear. I got him back to my mom's unfurnished basement, popped in the Billy Elliot VHS, which was my fuck tape. I still don't know how that movie ends. And the water bra made me inadvertently celibate because I wanted to be touched, but I couldn't let him touch or put any sort of like weight upon it because it made like a strange like sound that I could not explain. And I also couldn't do like a sneaky release underneath my shirt and chuck it far away because it was like the weight of an X-ray vest. It was like thunk. And after that, I would have had no choice but to be like, ta-da! I made my boobs disappear. And now for my assistant, my mom taking the towels out of the dryer. And magic is not hot. You know, it never will be. It's a trick. A guy wants boobs and he gets water. Not cool. I feel like the only time that would work is if it was like reversed or something. Like if you're running a marathon and I was volunteering on the side with the water and you came up for the water and I was like, or you can touch my tits. You're like, oh my God, thank you so much. I know there's water up here. I don't know when there's gonna be tits again. Thank you. That was the longest I've run in a while. Last time I went running was through the airport, and it tasted like coins in the back of my mouth. Just a little blood back there. I didn't grow my boobs until college, and it was with ice cream. And since then, I've gained and lost weight so many times over the years. My boobs are like an atheist dad at Catholic Mass. It's just like, I'm not gonna get up again. This is insane. Okay. Huge news. Okay, it's not that big of news. No, huge news. I got a king-sized bed. Thank you so much. Thank you. Things are going well. I got a king-size bed and I started hooking up with this like 6'6" football player dude, and I'm just like, if you build it, they will come. At the time, I was hooking up with a smaller gentleman. And I don't know if you've ever done the back and forth between sizes of people, but it can feel drastic. It's sort of like, you know when you go to the fridge for a jug of juice that you think's full, but it's empty, and you're like, whoa! That's the only way I can describe that. I was pregnant once, but I caught it early. And I went over to Planned Parenthood and got some MIFA and miso and what I call jump-started a late period. And then I went and did a table read and a taping for Comedy Central, so we really can have it all. And, you know, if you're feeling like you don't align with this story or my beliefs, don't worry, there is somebody in the story that shares yours. It's a leprechaun in Orlando. My dad hates Planned Parenthood. He thinks all they do is kill babies, because I got the one abortion there. You guys, I'm kidding. I haven't told him yet, but I always tell him if abortion were murder, there'd be a Law and Order SVU about it. And that he understands. But I do like to donate to them in his name, and because they do other stuff. There's all kinds of people in there looking for a good deal on an ultrasound, getting those free condoms that are so thick. Why are the free condoms so thick? It's almost like they're trying to drum up business. There's people in there getting their penises checked and also their balls. I don't want to alienate anybody here with balls. I never do. I love balls. I genuinely love balls. I could get actually emotional thinking about it. I love balls. I feel like they're the closest I'll come to a deep sea creature. They're so amorphous and malleable. And then sometimes they shell up, you know. So I did this fundraiser. This fundraiser for Planned Parenthood. It's this yearly event called the Birds and Bees Bash that happens in Santa Barbara, California, where a bunch of rich old people gather together and throw money at the cause. It's a beautiful thing. So they invited me to come do 15 minutes of stand-up, and I show up. It's a swanky event, so I've slapped on a skirt, which is obviously a big deal for me. And they sit me down in the back of this beautiful banquet hall next to Joanna Kearns. If you don't know who that is, it's Mrs. Seaver from Growing Pains. And if you don't know who that is, I don't care. I was so excited. I sat down and I was like, Mom. So she explains she's going to give the keynote speech, and then she'll bring me up to do stand-up. I was like, great. So Joanna's up there talking about Planned Parenthood, how they helped her and her family with breast exams. And a woman at the back of the room, at the table next to us, starts to have a heart attack. And Joanna just keeps talking because she doesn't know what's going on in the back of the room. Just like I can't know what's going on in every room I'm in. People could be up in the balcony making sweet love and we would have no clue. Especially if it was like super slow, like I like. So Joanna's up here talking. This woman's having a heart attack. I'm watching her have a heart attack, and I'm also thinking, like, what jokes am I gonna tell, you know? And then an ambulance comes very quickly, almost as if they knew there was a gathering of olds and they just parked on the corner. So they rush in. They put this woman on a stretcher because it was a heart attack. It was like a low-key heart attack. She fell out of her chair and her husband was worried. But as they were wheeling her out on the stretcher past our table towards the door, she looked at us and she said, I'm so sorry. I'm fine. I am so sorry. Which like might be the epitome of being a woman. Just like, I'm sorry I interrupted with a heart attack. I'm happy to die if that helps. I really will. I'll go die. So just as they have her outside the door, this is when Joanna leans into the mic and she said, "Who's ready for some stand-up comedy?" And I was like, "Oh no." So I get up and I'm like weaving my way through the tables in my dumb skirt. And the woman who's planning the event is panicked. And she rushes, she intercepts me, she puts her hand on my shoulder and she's like, "I don't know. Maybe you should do less time, like 5 minutes or something." I was like, "Bitch, I'm doing 15. So I got up there and I felt like I really needed to address the situation because I hadn't learned this lesson yet. And I got up there in front of everybody and I just said, "Wow, I have done a lot of things to get out of donating money, but never that." There were less laughs. It's taken me a few years to be able to talk about that. But I do feel like my dad would be proud of me. I bombed a Planned Parenthood. Can a mammal from the weasel family do that? Feels like I'm making the Christmas card this year. Thank you very, very much for being here for me. I love you. Okay, where's Tim? Tim is here, but he actually, I don't want to ruin it for you guys. He did babysit for me, but that other part was a joke. Are you guys disappointed he's a good guy, or? Kara and I worked at Graders together, first job. I invented the chocolate weasel, so if you ever enjoyed that, you're welcome. Love you, Tim. Oh, Tim would be in the balcony to get a better view. I'm kidding, I'm sorry, my mom's here. There she is. Give it up for Diane here. The Schaefer family, my second family here in town. Schaefers, Beth and Alan. Amy may or may not have been there that night that we went to UD. Come pick us up. Alan's like, "Can I not be a lawyer for one night?"